Welcome to the Perfect Swing podcast, where we talk about leadership, confidence, opportunity, all through the game of golf. I'm Ashante, CEO and founder of A Perfect Swing Inc., which is the A Perfect Swing Golf Association and the A Perfect Swing Foundation. And today we're tackling one of the biggest perceptions I hear from parents all the time. I love for my child to play golf, but it's just too expensive. And I get it. But guess what? Golf doesn't have to be expensive. With the right approach, access points, and community programs, any child can get started. So let's talk about it today. So let's be honest. When we think about youth sports, what typically comes to mind is football, basketball, soccer, baseball, really those fast paced, high impact, high pressure sports. But what about the child who doesn't want to be tackled, is recovering from injury, struggles with anxiety in chaotic environments, or simply doesn't connect with aggressive competition? Too often, those kids are the ones that feel like sports just aren't for them. And that's where we should take a step back and just really evaluate the situation. Because the truth is, sports aren't the problem. Fit is the problem. Finding something that fits for them. So some kids are sitting on the sidelines, not because they lack ability, but because it seems like they just don't fit that environment. That environment just doesn't fit them. But today, I'm going to talk about that powerful alternative, which is golf. Because golf doesn't demand that you fit into it, it meets you where you are. Golf is one of the most inclusive, low impact sports that you'll find, and yet it's often overlooked. Golf provides powerful, low impact pathways for kids who may not thrive in contact sports, but thus they can still build confidence, develop discipline, and leadership without the additional physical risk. So, what makes it different is that, yes, golf is low impact, high mental engagement. It challenges focus, patience, and resilience at the highest level. And other sports do that as well too, right? But here, you get to play at your own pace. So golf meets kids where they are. Whether they're beginners or advanced, they can grow without pressure to keep up with everyone else. You're playing against the course, not necessarily against your opponent. Scoring matters, yes. However, the obstacles that you face are on the course itself. Another thing is that it builds that internal confidence. There's no hiding on the golf course. Every shot is yours. Basketball, the time is winding out. You can pass it to another player. Not in golf. In golf, you have to take the shot. You have to take the stroke, right? But that situation is what puts you in a situation where you have to make the decision and you have to make the shot. And when you execute those shots, it's going to build your confidence. Such a great tool for our youth to develop. And that's where confidence is built from the realm of life, not just on the course. So, again, when you have those youth who are thriving in an environment where it's a little slower pace and it's not as chaotic, they get to build confidence not from noise, but from ownership, meaning they have to own their decisions and their execution. So just note, not every child is built for contact, but every child is built for confidence. And what I personally love most about golf is that it just isn't about the swing, but it is about what golf teaches them. Golf teaches decision making before you feel ready, because that's something that they're going to face. Managing emotions when things don't go your way, definitely something else that they're going to face. Staying composed under pressure, a given. Taking ownership without waiting for permission. Owning what you did, the mistakes that you make. However, regaining your composure and executing for the next shot. Definitely something that will be a life lesson. So these aren't just golf lessons, these are life lessons. These are leadership lessons, and it's going to build skills that they need for a lifetime. I've seen kids who were once quiet, unsure, or even, what would we say, overlooked, but they stepped onto the golf course and they found their voice. Not because someone gave it to them, but because the game demands that they discover it. In a Perfect Swing Foundation, we've seen the quiet student start to speak up, the hesitant child begin to take initiative, the one who struggles with confidence start to stand a little taller, feeling a little more engaged, smiling at that good shot, hitting that putt saying, you better get some of that. It's not because they were told to, but it was because they were put in an environment, on a situation where they could be great or they had to be great. And guess what? They did. And that takes them miles and miles and leaps and miles beyond anything that they'll do. So, again, it is because not that we did something special, but it was because we gave them the space to try. And most times, that's all our kids need. So, just because there's no contact or there's no pressure to perform immediately, no, we didn't do all that. We were just giving them an opportunity to be themselves, an opportunity to pause and analyze, an opportunity to adjust, and an opportunity to rise to the occasion in an environment at their pace. And that's exactly what they did. We have countless success stories. So I am a huge proponent of golf. Now, I think we need to take a moment to shift our mindset about how we feel about golf from an expense perspective. Golf is often seen as expensive, right? You think about those who you see on TV playing golf, what the commercials say, what tee time costs are. It could be expensive. Let's just get it, right? However, the access shouldn't be. Them having an opportunity to try the game should not be. So getting your child started in golf, it, it doesn't have to break the bank. What the image of what we see about the game says that that's what it is. But the reality is that there are ways that we can make the game more feasible and affordable for just about everyone. Let's start with this. Clearing our minds, saying, listen, you don't need a full set of clubs. You don't need to have access to a country club. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars up front for your child to get involved in the game. But what you do need is exposure, an opportunity to get them there. And at a Perfect Swing Foundation, for the youth that we serve, they don't own clubs when they come to us most times. They have limited or no golf experience. But what they have or what their parents have is a lot of curiosity, a lot of initiative, a lot of, I want my child to do this. I would love for my child to do that. I would love for my child to learn this. And that goes a long ways. And that's more than enough. So just note, because early on, it's not about equipment, it is about engagement. We all, or you all, have an opportunity to get your child or a child involved in the game without breaking the bank. So I want to give you some real practical ways to get your kids started without overspending. Some low cost entry points include community programs and nonprofits, starting small with equipment, utilizing national programs, and play and practice options that will not break the bank. So, first, let's talk about community programs and nonprofits. Organizations like My Perfect Swing Foundation, we are designed to remove barriers of entry. We provide equipment, instruction, a safe learning environment, mentorship, and there are many programs like us out there. They are at low cost or even free for low income families or military families. In your neighborhood, go visit your local golf course, practice facility, or even the stores where you can buy golf equipment and inquire about those organizations. Go, Ask those questions to understand and get a feel for what their requirements are, their costs, things of that sort. Being realistic with them, saying, listen, here is what I like to have happen. However, I want to understand how we can make that economically possible for my child. The other thing is to start small with equipment. You don't need a full bag. You can start with a putter, a wedge, a 7-iron, and a driver. And just as being a compatible piece, you need a golf bag to put those clubs in. And then you need a towel to wipe the face of the club, a glove. If you're right-handed, you get a left-handed glove. If they're left-handed, you give them a right-handed glove. Balls and tees. You can find all of this equipment in a gently used form at stores such as Play It Again Sports or Second Swing online, but then also try the clearance section at the big box stores. You'll find that some things they have previously used products that are relatively inexpensive for you to purchase. Now, if you just insist on having new clubs, and there's nothing wrong with that, try the box sets. Many of the box sets will come for just a few $100s, and you get the bag and the clubs in one. So then all you would need to do is get the towel, the glove, the balls, and the tees. Now, one thing that I want to caution parents about youth is that they grow quickly. Sometimes it seems like they grow overnight. So buying everything up front doesn't technically make sense. And then also, if they're just learning and they're trying the game, you don't know if they're going to fall in love with it yet. So starting small really becomes a manageable resource as you're going forward. The other thing is taking advantage of notable national programs. There is a LPGA USGA Girls Golf, and you can find their information at Girls Golf. It is a fun, female-specific environment for girls ages 6 to 17. They're going to learn so much about golf, about the history. They'll have an opportunity to fall in love with the game. They're doing arts and crafts. Everything's pink, purple, oh so lovely and fun. And that is critical. Statistics have shown that girls drop out of sports around 14. And the LPGA USGA Girls Golf Program has done a wonderful job of keeping girls engaged in the game. And again, it's for girls ages 6 to 17. And it's typically not very expensive. So you can find more information at girlsgolf.org. Then there's PGA Junior League. PGA Junior League is available around the country for boys and girls, and it is an opportunity for them to learn the game in a team environment. They have matching jerseys with their names on the back. Love it, right? It really is just a fun time to develop, or shall I say, start your joy or love for the game, because you're going to love it. I say they're going to love it. But it is an opportunity to put them in that environment where they're playing with youth at their age range. So it's fun. They have a 9U, meaning 9 years old and under. They have a 13 years and under, as well as a 17-year-old and under categories for play for PGA Junior League. The age requirements are determined based on the coaches choosing for 9U and 13U. However, for 17U is age 14 to 17. So lots of age variations there. And PGA Junior League is for ages 7 to 17. And they have scholarships available. So go to pgajuniorleague.com, look up the organization in your area, put in your zip code, and you can find the location nearest you, and reach out to the coach. Ask those questions, get the information, because that's another way to really get your child involved in the game without really breaking the bank. Then there's a program nationally called All Kids Play. Their website is allkidsplay.org. They provide funding to families and communities who lack the resources to pay for youth sports. It is available for kids in grades K through 12 What they are is a not-for-profit community based on recreational sports organizations in low income areas. So they are providing grants for registration, for equipment, as well as associated fees for whether it's sports classes or recreational leagues and travel sports. So it really gives you an opportunity to offset some of the costs for your particular child. So those three programs I just mentioned, LPGA USJ Girls Golf, you can find more information at girlsgolf.org. PGA Junior League, you can find more information at pgajuniorleague.com. And then All Kids Play. You can find more information at allkidsplay.org. Now, when we talk about local play and practice options, this is an opportunity to really keep the cost down. So you want to look for local public courses or driving ranges, as well as if there are like standalone putting green areas that your child can take advantage of. Oftentimes, those locations have youth discounts, free practice areas. Typically, when you go to a golf course, to utilize the chipping and pitching area as well as the putting area, there's typically no cost. So you can have an opportunity to really practice on your putting and your chipping and pitching using your own balls. So that is a significant cost savings. As well as those particular facilities, they may have affordable group clinics. Private lessons can be a little costly. However, in that group environment, the cost is typically lower. And not only that, you're in an environment where you're meeting other families. If there are other children that are playing, you get to build community. So just like with those other organizations I spoke about where they're playing sports with individuals of their same or near their same age range, that becomes critical as well too. So when you are in that group setting, you get to build community. If you develop a relationship with another family or you run into a family that you already knew, it's an opportunity to carpool. Maybe one parent picks up the children, another parent drops them off. That too saves in costs for fuel to get to the actual activity. So still allowing your youth to participate in these particular sports. And kids always feel more comfortable learning together. So again, you can take advantage of some of the added savings as a part of those group clinics. If your child is playing relatively well or they've decided they wanted to compete, they need to play. You want them to get out and play. Playing is how you develop your skill set in the game. There's a program called Youth on Course, and the website is youthoncourse.org. You pay a registration fee, which is probably around $20 or $25. And then your youth can play rounds of golf in the participating courses for $5 a round. I'm going I'm going to repeat that one more time for the people in the back. $5 a round. You cannot beat that. And the courses on this list, the courses that you would say, oh, they're just like dirt tracks. No, these are legitimate courses that will give your youth a great opportunity to practice their skill set. Pinehurst is on the list. That's a bucket course for people everywhere. These courses are providing an opportunity for youth to play on courses to get that real, true experience of learning and playing with real rough on greens that are a little faster and you have to manage the slopes. All of those things are true conditions for competitive golf. And if just fun golf, if you'd like to look at it that way as well too. But Youth on Course provides access for $5 a round after registration for youth to play courses to legitimately build their skill set, to play for fun, play at the highest or the next level, build their skill set, but also it really creates an environment where they can play on competitive tournament courses and manage and match or grow their skill set for that area. And that is very important. Now, let's talk about what really matters when we're talking about golf. So Parents, I really want you to understand this. Oftentimes parents will come and say, I want my child to play golf. I want them to go on a college scholarships. It's going around. Lots of scholarships are taken, shall we say, or there are lots that are available that people are not utilizing, and parents want their child to get that scholarship. You want them to get that scholarship. You want them to be professional. You want them to be, whether it's the next woman on the LPGA tour, the next one on the PGA tour, whatever it is. We have huge expectations for our children. And I love that. Admire that. And I want you to keep that energy. But what I need you to know is that they have to start somewhere. And going all in doesn't mean dropping hundreds of thousands of dollars or even thousands of dollars. Your child doesn't need the best gear. They need appropriate gear, right? However, what they need is encouragement, positive encouragement. They need consistency, having a plan, consistently attending their sessions, showing up, and they need the opportunity. So putting them in the environment to give them the opportunity to learn, to understand it, and to enjoy the game. At a Perfect Swing Foundation, we've seen kids start with very little and they grow into confident, capable leaders. Because what stays with them isn't the equipment. It isn't that you gave them the best equipment that you saw in a commercial. No, it is the overall experience. That is what they're going to remember. We've had students come into our program who have never touched a golf club before. No equipment, no exposure, no idea what to expect. But what they did have, and what we're proud to say that we gave them, was access. And through our programs, they were able to learn the basics, practice consistency, and build confidence step by step. And over time, that exposure turned into interest. That interest turned into skill. And that skill turned into belief. And that's how it starts. We've had youth go on to play collegiate golf. We've had youth go on to intern and work in the golf industry, a multi-trillion-dollar industry, may I add. Very beneficial. Opening those doors for youth, because that is a space that they can be a part of in so many different realms. Everyone's always thinking about the player, but understand that the golf industry is an industry that is massive, and there are opportunities in every area. But that's how it starts. So not with a big investment, but just with a single opportunity to be exposed and have access to the game. Now, here's my final message for parents. If you're listening to this and you're thinking about getting your child or children into golf, start simple. Start local. Start with what you have. Because the goal isn't to create the perfect golfer overnight. It's to create a positive first experience. And from there, everything else can grow. Also, if you're a coach or an educator listening to this, I want to challenge you to rethink what athletic success looks like. And even for parents, not every child needs to fit into the traditional sport to win. Some just need a different door, a different fit. And golf might be that door. That door to confidence, that door to opportunity, that door to scholarships, that door to lifelong networks, and most importantly, that door to self-belief, because that is going to take them the rest of their life. Now, in closing, I'll just say access creates opportunity, and opportunity builds confidence. Golf does not have to be out of reach. With the right mindset, the right resources, and the right support system, it can become one of the most impactful things your child experience. If you're looking for a place to start, organizations like the Perfect Swing Foundation are here to help and open that door. Find the one in your community. Thank you for listening. And if you don't remember anything else, I want you to remember that a perfect swing doesn't start with expensive equipment. It starts with a simple opportunity to try. Have an amazing day.